All right, everyone, welcome to another deep dive. Today we are looking into red light therapy and all the buzz around it for men's sexual health, specifically, stronger erections and a boost in libido. So we've got a ton of studies and expert opinions, even some practical advice from the companies that are selling these red light devices. But as always, we're going to cut through the hype and see what the science actually says.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. There's a ton of buzz about red light therapy and, really getting down to the science, I think, is really important.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess to start off, we're talking about like exposing our bodies to certain types of light.
Yeah, so red light therapy uses red and near infrared light. And the really special thing about these wavelengths is that they can actually penetrate the skin and then impact our cells like deep inside.
Okay, so this is more high-tech than I initially thought. So what happens when this light gets inside our cells?
So what's fascinating is that these wavelengths, they actually target the mitochondria, and those are like the energy factories of our cells. They produce ATP, which is the fuel that powers everything in our body.
Ah, the mitochondria, the powerhouses. I think we vaguely remember those from high school biology. But how does shining a light on them actually lead to better erections?
Well, we've got to think about, strong erections rely on good blood flow. And for blood to flow, well, our blood vessels need to be relaxed and open.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, as we age, things don't always flow as smoothly as they used to. And a lot of the research you sent mentions this thing called nitric oxide. Like, what's the connection there?
Yeah, so nitric oxide is a molecule that tells our blood vessels to relax and widen. And that process is called vasodilation. And guess what? Red light therapy can actually stimulate nitric oxide production.
So more red light equals more nitric oxide equals more blood flow. Okay, I think I'm starting to see where this is going. But it's not just about, getting the blood flowing down there, right?
Not at all. One study actually found a 400% increase in blood flow in a specific area after red light therapy. And that was coupled with an increase in CO2 production.
Wait, CO2? Isn't that what we exhale? What does that have to do with anything?
It's really interesting, actually. So carbon dioxide, even though we think of it as a waste product, it also plays a role in vasodilation. So it helps create like the right environment for those blood vessels to open up.
Wow, so it's like a 1-2 punch. Nitric oxide tells those blood vessels to widen, and then the CO2 comes in and kind of creates the space for all that extra blood flow. I'm definitely starting to see why people are excited about this. But, some of these studies also talk about red light therapy's impact on like a cellular level, beyond just the blood flow, what's going on there.
So we were talking about how red light therapy increases energy production in the mitochondria, right? Well, that increased cellular energy can directly benefit the smooth muscle and endothelial cells in the penis.
Okay, what do those cells do again?
So those are essential for like achieving and maintaining an erection. You can think of them as like the construction crew that's making sure that everything is working properly.
Ah, so it's like red light therapy is giving those cells a boost to do their job even better. I'm also seeing a lot about inflammation in this research. How does that fit into all of this?
So that's another really important piece of the puzzle. So chronic inflammation can really cause problems throughout the body. And, the tissues involved in erections are no exception. Red light therapy has been shown to be anti-inflammatory, which could really help create a healthier environment for everything to function properly.
So we're talking better blood flow, more energized cells, less inflammation. That's a pretty good combo. But what about, the other side of things? We've been talking about the mechanics of erections. But what about desire?
You're talking about libido. That's where testosterone comes into play. It's a hormone that really drives our desire and plays a role in erectile function as well.
Right, and testosterone levels naturally decline with age, which, can impact libido and sex drive. So is red light therapy like a potential solution for this too?
Some sources suggest that it could be. One study found that red light therapy actually increased testosterone production in male rats. And, we always need more research, especially in humans, but this is a really intriguing finding.
It really is. So red light therapy could potentially be working on both sides. So the physical mechanics of erections and the hormonal drive behind libido. That's pretty exciting. But before we all run out and buy red light devices, I got to ask, is this stuff safe? One source mentioned, concerns about heat and the, sensitive areas.
Yeah, that's a really important consideration. It's really crucial to use red light therapy responsibly, especially down there. The testicles are actually designed to be a little cooler than the rest of the body for healthy sperm production.
So using red light therapy down there could be risky if it generates too much heat.
Exactly. Prolonged exposure should really be avoided, and that's why it's so important to choose FDA-cleared devices that are really designed with safety in mind. And always follow the instructions. No DIY red light contraptions.
Definitely not. And, as always, talking to your doctor before starting any new treatment is always a good idea, especially when it involves, sensitive areas. Speaking of, beyond the bedroom, some sources suggest that red light therapy could be good for men's health overall. What's the connection there?
Well, it's all about the ripple effects. So by improving like cellular function and reducing inflammation, red light therapy could have benefits that go way beyond just sexual health. We're talking things like thyroid health, which plays a role in testosterone production and energy levels.
Right. It's all connected. And I'm seeing a lot about weight loss, muscle mass, even mental well-being and mood, all of which, could indirectly impact sexual health and overall vitality.
Absolutely. It's a very holistic approach to well-being, which is something I'm always really interested in.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered a lot here. To recap, red light therapy seems to be showing a lot of promise for improving erections, boosting libido, and even enhancing overall well-being. And it seems to be working on multiple levels, from blood flow and cellular energy to inflammation and potentially even testosterone. But safety is key. Using FDA-cleared devices and talking to your doctor are crucial. What are your main takeaways so far?
Yeah, I think, I'm really impressed with the potential, especially for men's sexual health. I think, the evidence for it helping erectile dysfunction while it's still preliminary is promising. And the fact that it could help with libido through its impact on testosterone is really, really interesting. But again, it's important to use it responsibly and, talk to your doctor and see if it's right for you.
I totally agree. Now, before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with something to kind of chew on. So we've been talking about red light therapy as a way to, address sexual problems. But what if we shifted our perspective a bit?
I like where this is going.
What if instead of just fixing what's broken, red light therapy could actually be a tool for, proactively enhancing men's overall well-being and vitality, to unlock like a new level of energy and confidence and, yes, even sexual satisfaction?
That's a really great question. I think it really challenges us to think beyond, just treating symptoms and look at the possibility of optimizing our health and well-being.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. So to our listeners, I'll leave you with that question to ponder. We'll be back soon to delve even deeper into the world of red light therapy and its potential to transform men's health.
Welcome back. Before the break, we left our listeners with that thought-provoking question about red light therapy. Could it be, more than just a treatment and be like a proactive tool for boosting overall vitality?
Yeah, we were talking about moving beyond just fixing issues and actually optimizing men's health. So what are your thoughts on that based on everything we've been talking about?
I think it's fascinating, and I think it has potential. When you look at how red light therapy works, it seems to be working at a very fundamental level, influencing those cellular processes that impact everything. It's like giving your body this boost from the inside out.
Yeah, it's like updating your body's operating system, Instead of just patching the bugs, you're optimizing the whole system for better performance.
Exactly. And that shift in mindset from reactive to proactive is what excites me. It empowers people to take control of their health and potentially reach new levels of well-being.
I love that it's not just about, feeling okay. It's about feeling fantastic. Speaking of feeling fantastic, some of this research talks about the impact of red light therapy on athletic performance. That seems like a whole other realm of possibilities.
It is, and it makes sense when you consider the mechanisms we've been discussing. Improved blood flow, enhanced cellular energy, reduced inflammation. Those are all things that can give athletes a serious edge.
Yeah, there was this one study that caught my eye. It was a review of like over 40 studies on red light therapy and athletic performance, and it found some pretty incredible results. Benefits for increasing muscle mass, speeding up recovery, even boosting endurance. They were even wondering if it should be allowed in competitions.
Wow, that's remarkable. It really speaks to the power of this therapy.
Right, and if it can help, elite athletes reach peak performance, imagine what it could do for the average guy who just wants to feel more energized and perform better in the gym and, everywhere else.
Yeah, that's a great point. It could mean, more energy for workouts, faster recovery time, just a better overall sense of physical well-being.
And that could translate to, feeling more confident and capable in all areas of life, work, relationships, everything.
Right, it's all connected. We've talked about the science, but let's get practical for a second. If someone wants to try red light therapy, what should they be looking for in a device?
Yeah, what are the key factors people should consider?
Well, as we talked about before, safety should be the top priority. Choosing an FDA-cleared device is absolutely crucial. These devices have undergone rigorous testing to make sure that they're safe and effective.
So no cutting corners or experimenting with, DIY red light gadgets, especially when it comes to something as sensitive as.
Exactly. You want a device that's been vetted and proven to be safe. Beyond safety, it's important to look at the wavelengths of light the device emits. Remember, different wavelengths penetrate to different depths and have different effects.
So someone might need a device that offers both red and near infrared light to get the full range of benefits.
Exactly. And then there are other factors too, like the power output of the device, the treatment area it covers, and things like, ease of use and portability. It really depends on, your individual needs and preferences.
Right, and as always, consulting with a healthcare professional is a smart move. They can help you figure out if red light therapy is right for you and give you advice on choosing the right device and creating a treatment plan.
Absolutely, they can help you navigate the options and make sure you're using it safely and effectively. While we're talking about, getting guidance from healthcare professionals, I think it's worth revisiting the topic of mental well-being and mood.
Oh, right. We briefly mentioned that it could be helpful for things like, seasonal affective disorder and even depression. Some people might be surprised that light therapy can have such a big impact on mood.
It's true, but when you think about it, it makes sense. Our bodies are designed to respond to natural light cycles. Light plays this crucial role in regulating our circadian rhythms and hormone production, which can then impact our mood, sleep, and energy levels.
Right. It's like our internal clocks are synced to the sun, and when that gets messed up, our whole system can feel off. So red light therapy could potentially help to rebalance things, even if it's not a direct replacement for sunlight.
Exactly. It could be a really helpful tool, especially during those darker winter months or for people struggling with, seasonal affective disorder.
Okay, so we've talked about the science behind red light therapy, the potential benefits for directions, libido, athletic performance, even mood. But what I'm really curious about is, does this stuff actually live up to the hype? What are your honest thoughts on its potential, especially for men who are looking to feel their best?
I'm incredibly optimistic. The research is still emerging, but what we're seeing so far is really promising. Red light therapy seems to have the potential to benefit so many aspects of men's health, from, physical performance and energy levels to hormonal balance, mood, and of course, sexual function.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's really exciting to think about all the possibilities, especially the idea of using it not just to address problems, but to optimize our health and well-being.
Right. It's about moving beyond simply surviving and into thriving.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, there's one more thing I wanted to address. We've been talking a lot about using red light therapy safely, especially, in the testicular area. But what about men who are concerned about their fertility? Could red light therapy have any negative impacts on sperm health?
That's a really important question and one that deserves careful consideration. While the research on red light therapy and male fertility is still kind of limited, we do know that excessive heat can be bad for sperm production.
So using red light therapy in that area requires extra caution.
Absolutely. It's essential to follow the instructions and avoid prolonged exposure. But on a more positive note, some early studies suggest that red light therapy might actually have some beneficial effects on sperm health.
Really, so it's potentially a double-edged sword?
In a way, yes, but it all comes back to using it responsibly and under the guidance of a healthcare professional. They can help you weigh the risks and benefits and make an informed decision.
Right, so for any of our listeners out there who are concerned about fertility, talking to your doctor before trying red light therapy is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely, they can help you navigate the complexities and make sure you're using it safely and effectively.
I think this is a great place to pause for a moment. We've covered a lot of ground from the science to its potential benefits for men's health, and we've touched on some important safety considerations.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting conversation.
It really has, but there's still more to discuss. When we come back, we'll be tackling some common myths and misconceptions about red light therapy, diving into some more of the research, and discussing what the future holds for this potentially game-changing therapy. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into red light therapy and men's health. I don't know about you, but after all this talk about, boosting vitality and optimizing performance, I'm feeling pretty energized.
Me too. It's exciting to explore these cutting-edge therapies that could totally change how we think about health and well-being.
Totally, but like with anything new and exciting, there's always myths and misconceptions floating around. So let's tackle a few of those head on before we wrap up. One I've heard is that red light therapy is just a glorified tanning bed. Is there any truth to that?
Not at all. That's a really common misconception, but there's a key difference. Tanning beds use ultraviolet radiation, or UV radiation, and that's what causes skin damage and increases the risk of skin cancer. Red light therapy uses specific wavelengths of red and near-infrared light, and those wavelengths are not associated with those harmful effects.
So no risk of sunburns or leathery skin with red light therapy. Good to know. Another one I've heard is that it's only for older men, dealing with age-related decline.
That's another misconception. While it can definitely be beneficial for, age-related issues, its potential benefits can help men of all ages. Remember, we talked about its positive effects on cellular function, blood flow, inflammation. Those are things that can benefit anyone regardless of age.
Right, it's like a tune-up for the body, helping everything run a little bit smoother and more efficiently. It's not just about fixing problems, it's about optimizing performance.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and look at some of the latest research. There are a couple of studies I think are worth highlighting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
But one 2020 randomized controlled trial found that near-infrared light actually significantly improved erectile function. In men with mild to moderate ED, the participants, they used at-home devices for several weeks. And the results suggest that, the improvement was probably due to increased nitric oxide release and better endothelial function.
That's great. It's always good to see more research, confirming these potential benefits.
Absolutely. Another recent study looked into the effects of red light therapy on testosterone levels. Now, this particular study was done on rats, so we need to be a little cautious about, extrapolating the findings to humans. But the results are definitely interesting. They observed a significant increase in testosterone production in the rats after they got red light therapy on their testicles, which suggests it might be a possible alternative to traditional testosterone replacement therapy.
Wow, that's potentially huge news for men struggling with low testosterone. But yeah, you're right. We always need more research, especially on humans, before we can make any real conclusions.
Absolutely. But the fact that we're seeing these promising results in animals, means that the mechanisms are there. And it definitely warrants further investigation.
It definitely does. So what's next for red light therapy? Like, what are the researchers focusing on right now?
One of the big areas of focus is optimizing treatment protocols. So scientists are trying to figure out the ideal wavelengths, dosages, and treatment durations for, different conditions. It's like fine-tuning a recipe to get the most delicious and effective outcome.
That makes sense. It's all about finding that sweet spot for maximum benefit. What else is on the horizon?
Well, another crucial area is, long-term safety. While red light therapy generally has a good safety profile, more research is needed to assess any potential long-term effects, especially with regular use. It's always better to be safe than sorry and get as much info as we can.
Right, it's not just about the short term. It's about making sure things are sustainable and safe for the long haul.
Exactly. And of course, researchers are exploring all sorts of new applications for red light therapy. It seems like every day we're discovering new potential benefits for so many conditions. It's a really exciting field to be in right now.
It really is. It feels like we're just scratching the surface in terms of understanding all that red light therapy could do. Where do you think this is all headed?
It's hard to say, but it's fun to imagine. Imagine a future where red light therapy is a normal part of healthcare, not just for treating illnesses, but for, being proactive and optimizing our health and well-being throughout our lives.
That would be incredible. Imagine using red light therapy to, boost our energy and our mood, optimize our physical performance, and maintain a healthy libido as we age. It's like a whole new way of thinking about healthcare. It's moving beyond just survival and into thriving.
Exactly. And that's a future I'm excited to be a part of.
Me too. So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has been helpful and maybe even sparked some curiosity about what red light therapy could do. It's a field that's changing all the time, and we encourage you to stay informed and do some exploring.
Remember, knowledge is power, and taking control of your health is one of the best things you can do for yourself.
Well said. Do your research, choose reputable devices, and talk to your doctor. Who knows, maybe they'll unlock a new level of vitality and well-being that you never thought possible. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into something interesting. But until then, stay curious and keep exploring.